A man named Park Kang is caught getting intimate with a rising actress named Hai Young. Just like her, Park Kang is also an actor whose career is climbing fast, and their scandal quickly spreads across the internet. Meanwhile, a man named Jo Yoon, who once tried to be an actor himself but never found success, has now become Park Kang's manager. Thanks to Park Kang's growing fame, he is able to buy the most luxurious apartment, live a life overflowing with comfort, and even send his mother traveling around the world. Before shooting his next project, Park Kang visits his doctor. He has been dealing with anxiety and struggling to sleep. On set, he is playing the role of a king, but he keeps forgetting his lines and losing his temper. He demands the director to shorten his dialogue. With his rising status, he has become arrogant and entitled, and the production team is too afraid to refuse him. The drama becomes a success mostly because of him, which only makes everyone more cautious around him. That night, Park Kang attends the Korea Film Awards. He wins Best Actor and gives an emotional speech, remembering how just 10 years ago he was living in poverty and promising he would never forget where he came from. Somewhere else in the city, a woman named Soo Hyun watches the award show from a small roadside food stall. After the ceremony, Park Kang wants to celebrate by stopping at an old bar, but Jo Yoon refuses because he has promised to spend Christmas Eve with his family. Park Kang does not care about anyone's time but his own, and he threatens to fire both Jo Yoon and the driver. Forced into it, Jo Yoon joins him at the bar, and Park Kang casually hands him money to give to his family as a Christmas gift. While they are there, Jo Yoon mentions that Soo Hyun has returned from America to hold an art exhibition. Park Kang is surprised because Soo Hyun was once his girlfriend, and her name is still carved on the bar's wall. Later that night, they take a taxi home, but Park Kang refuses to ride with Jo Yoon. Inside the taxi, the driver happily talks about how lucky he feels to drive someone so famous, assuming that Park Kang must be living a perfect and happy life. Then the driver suddenly shares his own belief that fame and wealth are not the real keys to happiness. Park Kang brushes it off, insisting the man could never understand what he feels. The driver then asks a simple but unsettling question. What would Park Kang do if he had the chance to go back to the past? And did he ever wonder what his life would be like if he had never broken up with his girlfriend? To Park Kang, the idea sounds ridiculous, completely impossible. He never expected what came next. This is Switch. The next morning, Park Kang wakes up, but something is very wrong. He is not in his luxury apartment. Instead, he is greeted by two little kids who suddenly call him Dad. Completely stunned, he watches Soo Hyun rush in, looking furious. Before he can make sense of anything, he learns that the two of them are married, and those children are their twins. Shocked and overwhelmed, he runs outside, hoping this is just a dream. He tries calling his manager, but the phone is dead. He presses the remote for his expensive car, only to hear an old, beat-up car beep in response. Apparently, that one is his now. Confused and panicking, he heads straight to the apartment he remembers. He walks in casually, unaware that the security guards have no idea who he is. When he reaches his door, the password no longer works, because the apartment now belongs to someone else. Believing the new tenant is a trespasser, he barges in and causes chaos. Ha Young is there too, and Park Kang tries to insist that he is the famous actor everyone should recognize. None of it works. He ends up in a police station where he is told very clearly that the apartment is not his. A moment later, Soo Hyun arrives. The officers ask if she is his wife, but Park Kang denies it, which only makes her angrier. The police then tell Soo Hyun they will write a report claiming Park Kang is mentally unstable so he can be released. She has no idea why they would say that, and they explain that he keeps insisting he is a celebrity, even though no one knows him at all. As they are leaving, Park Kang quietly asks Soo Hyun if he really is her husband. That single question annoys her so much that she slaps him. The slap jolts his memory. He recalls taking the taxi after drinking with Jo Yoon, and he remembers exactly what the driver said to him. When they reach home, his daughter Ro-hee taps on the car window. He awkwardly asks for the name of the boy because he genuinely does not know, and Ro-hee tells him her twin brother is named Ro-wa. Park Kang asks Ro-hee to help him remember everything, assuming he must have lost his memory from drinking too much. At home, Soo-hyun gets ready to meet a friend. She tells Park Kang to look after the kids and take them out to play. He immediately complains, wondering why they could not just hire a babysitter because he is too busy. To Soo-hyun, it sounds like drunken nonsense. They can barely afford rent, so hiring help is impossible. Park Kang spends the day taking the twins out to play, all while searching for the same taxi he rode the night before. He even visits his psychiatrist and explains everything that has been happening, fully expecting the doctor to recognize him. The doctor does not, which only makes Park Kang even more confused. Back at home, the twins turn on the TV. They spot Park Kang acting as a ghost in a drama, even though he clearly remembers playing a king. Later that night, Soo-hyun confronts him, wanting to know why he barged into someone else's apartment. Park Kang insists that this is a different world, and that in his real life he is a famous actor living in that luxury unit. Everything changed, he explains, after he got into that taxi and somehow woke up next to her. Hearing this, Soo-hyun questions whether he regrets ending up with someone like her. Later, when they go to bed, Park Kang prepares himself under his thick blanket, hoping for a romantic moment. The plan goes nowhere because Soo-hyun falls asleep instantly. Days pass, and Park Kang starts feeling stressed. Every morning, the twins wake him up before sunrise, demanding his attention. Over time, though, he learns to adapt. Slowly, he begins to act like a real father and genuinely enjoys making them happy. One morning in the kitchen, Soo-hyun reminds him to practice his script. He has a small role in a TV show the next day. Even though it is not a lead part, she believes it could open the door to something bigger for him. When filming begins, the director praises his emotional performance and calls for the next shot. But Park Kang is not satisfied. He wants to do it again. The director disagrees but eventually gives in. Before Park Kang even delivers a line, the director cuts the scene and moves on. Even so, his wife and the twins are thrilled. They praise him endlessly, but Park Kang switches the TV off, frustrated that he is still playing minor roles. Not long after, as he complains about dinner, his friend Woo-hee calls. She asks him to help promote a theater production by handing out flyers. This reminds Park Kang of Jo-yoon, his old manager, and he wonders where he is in this world. Woo-hee finds the question strange and explains that Jo-yoon recently released a film. Curious, Park Kang heads to the cinema. To his shock, Jo-yoon is the star of the movie, a hugely popular one. The realization hits him hard. In this world, his old manager has taken the career that once belonged to him. Needing answers, Park Kang goes straight to Jo-yoon's agency office to find out more. When Park Kang finally meets Jo-yoon, he quickly realizes how much things have changed. Luckily, Jo-yoon still remembers him well and immediately invites him to join him for a meal. Over lunch, Park Kang asks the question that has been bothering him. How did Jo-yoon become such a famous actor? Jo-yoon explains that it all happened because of Park Kang. If Park Kang had not stepped away back then, Jo-yoon never would have made it. The explanation leaves Park Kang confused, so Jo-yoon continues. Years ago, during their final audition, Park Kang chose to run to the airport to stop Soo-hyun from leaving for America. That single choice opened the door for Jo-yoon to take the role that originally should have gone to Park Kang. That role became the start of his entire career. Hearing this, Park Kang is deeply moved. After their meeting, Park Kang goes to see Soo-hyun. Standing in front of her, he finally understands how much that past decision meant. In another life, he chose career over love. But in this world, he made the opposite choice. He gave up ambition to be with her. Realizing this, he begins treating her with more care and affection. He even wonders what would have happened if she had really gone to New York back then. Soo-hyun simply smiles, telling him that she is happy with the life they have now. One evening, Park Kang performs in a small theater show with Woo-hee. Jo-yoon comes to watch, but he is so exhausted that he falls asleep during the performance. After the show ends, he takes everyone out for dinner and generously pays for the entire group. He even leaves his credit card behind so they can continue enjoying themselves without worry. When Park Kang returns home, he brings meat from the dinner to share with Soo-hyun and their neighbors. He might not be a famous actor here, but he still has a charm that draws people in, especially the mothers in the neighborhood who admire him. The next morning, Park Kang's mother shows up unannounced and wakes both him and Soo-hyun with an irritated voice. She scolds them for living too lazily, insisting that their habits could leave her grandchildren hungry. She continues complaining, frustrated that Park Kang quit the TV job that had been supporting him. Later, Park Kang drives his mother to the bus terminal. Before she leaves, she prays that he will land a good acting role like Jo-yoon. She even gives him some money, asking him to treat the family and buy flowers for his father's grave. Park Kang follows all her requests except one. He cannot bring himself to enter the cemetery. His childhood memories with his father are painful, and those old wounds still keep him from offering even a simple prayer. One day, Park Kang auditions for a leading role. His performance is strong, and for a moment it feels like he might finally get his big break. But there is one problem. The judge is a director who knows that Park Kang is close friends with Jo Yoon. Instead of evaluating his acting, the director asks him to convince Jo Yoon to take the role instead. Hearing this, Park Kang feels insulted. He came to audition seriously, yet he is treated as nothing more than a messenger. When he later tells Jo Yoon what happened, Jo Yoon finally understands how hard Park Kang has been trying. Not just for himself, but for his entire family. Wanting to help, Jo Yoon offers him a job as his manager. Park Kang turns it down. His life has already been completely swapped with Jo Yoon's, and he is not ready to accept that reality. The next day, Park Kang tries to reach Soo Hyun. He searches for her anxiously while watching over the twins. Suddenly, Ro-Wah falls during playtime and has to be rushed to the hospital. There, Park Kang learns that Soo Hyun has secretly been working at a convenience store. The sight of her uniform stings. He feels hurt that she never told him, as if she no longer sees him as the provider of the family. His frustration grows when he checks his bank balance and realizes how little he has accomplished over the past 10 years in this world. With no other choice, he finally accepts Jo Yoon's offer and becomes his manager. Drawing from his experience in his original life, Park Kang quickly adapts to the job. He organizes schedules, assists Jo Yoon on set, and protects him from negative gossip. He performs every task Jo Yoon once did for him, and he even gives advice on negotiating higher pay for new projects. On set, Jo Yoon struggles to memorize his script, so Park Kang steps in to help by practicing lines with him. He gets so into character that he momentarily forgets he is not the actor. Because Jo Yoon takes too long, a background actor quits out of impatience. With time running out, the director asks Park Kang to fill the role. The moment the camera starts rolling, Park Kang comes alive. His horse riding scene impresses everyone, and the intensity on his face looks like a true warrior. The staff watches in awe, especially since Jo Yoon can barely manage the toy horse used for props. For the first time in a long while, Park Kang feels like himself again. Not just a manager or a father, but an actor who truly loves the craft. As he works hard, his life begins to change. He becomes more responsible, more attentive to his wife and children. Ironically, these changes make Soo Hyun uneasy. She senses that something about him has shifted, especially when he suddenly invites the family out to eat at nicer places. Then he takes it a step further. He gives Soo Hyun a car, and when he sees an empty apartment unit owned by Jo Yoon, he plans to borrow it so they can move in. To him, it is a chance to start fresh. To her, it feels like abandoning everything they have built. Soo Hyun refuses. Their small home may be humble, but every corner holds a memory. It is where their children grew up. It is where they survived their hardest days. It is where they laughed together as a family. To her, no luxury apartment could ever replace the value of that space. Soo Hyun cannot understand why Park Kang wants to leave their home so easily. She wonders if it is because of money, or because their life has become a little more comfortable, that he now forgets the place they once built together. Park Kang tries to explain that he only wants to give his family something better. To him, having more would mean giving them more happiness. But to Soo Hyun, leaving this home would mean losing something far more valuable than wealth. Their different views lead to a heated argument. Later that night, Park Kang goes to the twins' room and looks at their family photos. He apologizes to Soo Hyun, admitting that everything he has done was for them. After reflecting on it, he realizes that his life now, even without fame or fortune, feels happier than the one he left behind. What scares him most is the thought of losing his children. Right now, all he wants is to stay in this world with them. He has no desire to return to the life he once knew. Over time, Park Kang starts gaining attention on set. Even though he is not the lead actor, his performance begins to overshadow Jo Yoon's. The director even jokes that Jo Yoon might be better suited to being Park Kang's manager now. Before long, Jo Yoon wins the Best Actor award. During his acceptance speech, he thanks his old friend Park Kang, and hearing this fills Park Kang with guilt. In his original world, he never acknowledged his manager. Yet here, Jo Yoon openly expresses his gratitude, saying he would not have achieved this without Park Kang's support. Just like Park Kang once experienced, they head to the same old bar to celebrate. On this Christmas Eve, Jo Yoon admits that he envies Park Kang for having a family. He even reveals his plan to marry Woo Hee, which surprises Park Kang, who had always assumed Woo Hee was a man. On the way home, Jo Yoon hands Park Kang some money, mirroring the moment long ago when Park Kang did the same for him. After they part ways, Park Kang takes a taxi home, video calling his family who are waiting to celebrate Christmas with him. When the call ends, the taxi driver suddenly speaks. It is the same driver Park Kang has been searching for all year. The driver tells him that a full year has passed and that his time is almost up. He must return to his original life when morning comes. Park Kang refuses. He does not want to go back and he insists that nothing will change his mind. But then the taxi stops. Park Kang looks up and the driver reveals his true identity. He is Park Kang's father. His father who passed away long ago. A man who spent so much of his life buried in work that he rarely had time for his son. With a heavy voice, he admits that he regrets neglecting him, chasing things that ultimately meant nothing. He urges Park Kang not to repeat the same mistake. This entire experience, he says, is his Christmas gift to his son. When Park Kang returns home, he feels weak and completely lost. Tonight is his last night with the family he has grown to love. He sits beside Ro Hee in silence, simply listening to her cheerful stories. He cannot bring himself to speak. The sadness of knowing he will lose all of this settles heavily in his chest, and he breaks down in tears, especially when Ro Hee gently blows on his eyes as if comforting him. Later that night, he lies in bed staring blankly, unable to sleep. And when he finally closes his eyes and wakes again, everything has changed. He is back in his original life. Jo Yoon is standing there as his manager, just like before. Still shaken, Park Kang tells Jo Yoon that 1 year ago, Jo Yoon mentioned Soo Hyun would be returning to Korea for an exhibition. Jo Yoon looks confused. He explains that he said that only yesterday, and the exhibition is happening today. Hearing this, Park Kang immediately runs to find her. But by the time he arrives, the event has ended. He notices one of her paintings and his heart stops. It is a picture of the same house where he lived with his family in the other world. Soo Hyun soon appears, surprised to see him. Without hesitation, Park Kang asks how she painted that house. She explains that it was her very first painting. That is when Park Kang asks for a few hours of her time and takes her somewhere meaningful. When they reach their destination, he tells her that he once lived with her in this very house. Soo Hyun falls silent. Standing in front of them is the same house from her painting, identical to the one he remembers. 2 years pass, and their story continues. They marry and eventually become parents to twins. They give them the same names as before, Ro Hee and Ro Wah. But this time, their life together is truly joyful. They raise their children side by side, building a future filled with love rather than regret. And with that, the story comes to a close. So the moral of the story is, if a mysterious taxi driver starts talking about life choices, maybe do not ignore him, because next thing you know, you might wake up with twins, a budget car, and a whole new personality upgrade you did not order.